Harper Audio presents Choke by Stuart Woods, performed by J.O. Sanders. Prologue. Wimbledon, early 70s. Chuck won the point, won the game. He sat down at courtside, picked up a towel, mopped, then reached into his bag for a dry shirt. "Well, Dan, young Chuck Chandler's come a long way in this tournament." "I'll say he has, Bud. Coming into Wimbledon, this boy was ranked number 100 in the world. He started strong, then clawed his way up through the seeds, defeating 2 former champions along the way, and now he stands at the threshold of a whole new career. Would you say that, Cynthia?" "I certainly would, Dan. This young man has the talent to beat anybody when he's playing this well." And now Chuck Chandler has the reigning champion tied at 2 sets all and down 5 games to 4. Chuck strode out to the baseline to a swelling roar of approval from the crowd. He positioned himself at the baseline and slammed an ace down the center line. 15 love, the umpire said over the loudspeaker. Chuck walked to the opposite side of the court, positioned himself, and sent another serve straight down the center line at 125 miles an hour. The crowd went nuts. 30, love, the umpire announced. Chuck took his place and slammed his first serve into his opponent's forehand corner for a third ace. The crowd went berserk. 40, love, the umpire announced. Chuck served with all his power. The ball slapped against the tape at the top of the net and fell back into his court. A groan from the crowd. Chuck served again. The ball struck the net again. A noise of pure misery from the crowd. 40-15, the umpire announced. Chuck felt a swell of anger at himself. He walked to the other side of the court and served again, straight into the net. A sound of shock from the crowd. Chuck took a deep breath and served again without delay. The ball struck the tape and died. 40-30, the umpire announced. "Quiet, please, ladies and gentlemen. That's 2 wasted match points, and he's only got 1 left. Can Chuck do it, Dan?" "We're about to find out, Bud." "I'll do this one by the numbers," Chuck thought. Racquet held for a flat, hard serve, straight-arm toss, mighty swing. The ball hit the tape and bounced off the court. The crowd gasped. Chuck stood, sweat pouring down his face into his eyes. There could be no second serve in this position. He had to pull just 1 more ace out of the hat. He walked to courtside, picked up a towel, wiped his face, and returned to the baseline. Please, God. He set himself up, taking his time, tossed the ball, and put his last match point unerringly into the net. The crowd was absolutely silent. "Deuce," the umpire said. 24 minutes later in the dressing room, Chuck knelt before the porcelain throne and puked his guts out. He had lost the next 2 points. He had lost the next 2 games. He had lost the Wimbledon championship. He had lost the best opportunity a boy ever had to become a hero. "Bud, what happened out there on the center court?" "There can only be one explanation, Dan. Just one. Chuck choked." Chuck woke in a sweat, his heart pounding as hard as it had 20-odd years before. The Wimbledon dream was back. The brass clock on the bulkhead said 9:20, and he was starting his new job at 10. At 9:45, freshly shaved and dressed in clean whites, he stepped ashore at Key West Bight, the racket in his hand and the sunglasses perched on top of his blond head. His boat was a 32-foot twin-screw motor yacht that had been custom-built in the 50s at an old-line yard in Maine. She was named Choke. He preferred to make the joke himself before somebody else brought it up, as somebody always did. He got into his Porsche Speedster and drove the length of the island to the Old Island Racquet Club, 3 courts and a tiny pro shop owned by the big hotel across the street. He walked in at the stroke of
Sample complete. Ready to continue?